one main bridge in London, leading up to the time when the first bridge was first here, and that was London Bridge. Now you can understand in the 1870s it got very, very, very busy. There were lots of people living in the East End of London, and were working also in the other part of London as well, but the only way to get from one side to the other was to use London Bridge. London Bridge was getting to a point where it couldn't cope, you understand cope? It couldn't cope with the main traffic. There was people coming and going, you had horse and carts, because there was no cars in those days, and it was getting very busy. So Parliament, you've seen Westminster, the Parliament building. Parliament decided that they wanted a new bridge built, the east of London Bridge. London Bridge is the next one down, so they wanted a new bridge. But it couldn't be any ordinary bridge. This river, between the end of the river here to the London Bridge, this area was known as the Port of London. It was the main port where all the goods came in from faraway places like Spain and India and the Canary Islands, or Spain, and most of the West Indies. And you'd have all the different trade, tea, coffee, spices, fruit, vegetables, everything that was imported came on the river. Because we didn't have planes in them days, yes? So the bigger vessels will be over by Docklands, where you can see the big Canary Wharf. That is a Docklands area. And the smaller vessels were then brought from that area up to the bridge into the area here which was known as the Port of London. So this port was very, very busy, and then Parliament wants to come along and they want to put a bridge in the middle of the port, which then the people thought, well, it's going to stop the goods unloading from the boats. How are we going to make this bridge like it is now? So the group of people got together, and this was a group of people, because at the moment the people who look after the bridge is called the Corporation of London, it's called the City of London, and they look after this bridge and a few more bridges. And they have a small committee that got together around about 1878 to decide what kind of bridge would be placed here to allow not only for the boats to come in, but the people to get across with the transport. Okay?
Okay.
So, what has happened? They had a meeting. We had the chief engineer, Horace Jones. He later became Sir Horace Jones, and he was amongst the people, the chief engineer. We had a few more people, another gentleman, and his name was Cruckwell, and Mr. Cruckwell looked after the wharfs in the area. So you can understand his major concern about having the bridge put in and the boats wouldn't be unladen, and he was very worried as well. So they sat down to decide what kind of exhibition or what kind of bridge was put here, and they decided to have a public competition to open it to the public, to put forward some ideas for the bridge to open. So when the actual competition was held, about 50 people put in various designs for the bridge. As the gentleman, as you saw in there, whose name was John Wolfe Barry, he was explaining to people getting ideas of putting high walkways. They wanted the road to be at this level, but the only way of getting the transportation to this point is having roads which would go spiral like this, and so the gradient was too steep to allow the horse and carts to come up this, so this way was no good. Another idea was to have like a figure of 8, where the boats would come into one side, and while the boats are coming in one side, the vehicles would then go round, and then when it closed, another one, and it got very, very complicated. So they decided to go to Europe to get some ideas of what kind of bridge would be placed here. And they came up with the idea, after 6 years of going around Europe on the boats, because it's very slow time, and they decided that the design that Horace Jones put forward 6 years before would be the ideal design.